legends of Christmas. And here are two people on my naughty list, Neil and Chris. Ho, ho, ho.
Hello and welcome to Urbane Legends, the 12 Legends of Christmas, our mini-series which differs from our standard Urbane Legends because they're shorter and they're all about one topic. I feel like I'm rambling a bit. I'm Chris Flynn. This is day 8. Snowed in Mr.
Neil Herbert's bunker.
Neil's bunker. We actually found something quite interesting earlier. We found out that, because this bunker was here when you bought the flat, wasn't it?
Yes, it was, yeah. It
was the prime reason you bought the flat.
Yes, yeah, there was a bunker in the patio, so that really interested me.
And we found actually that there was a false wall, and there's a room behind it. And in that room, there's kind of like a murder board and lots of kind of frenzied scribbled writing and sort of bits of string attaching things together, which seem to suggest quite convincingly, I think you'll agree, Neil, that the assassination of Archbishop Ferdinand II was actually planned and carried out by the Mr. Men. So
yes, absolutely.
That was surprising, wasn't it? I mean, it's pretty convincing. What are you making of it?
Well, I'd forgotten he was an archbishop as well as an archduke.
All right.
But
sorry.
History fact fans. Yeah, well, you know.
I've been here 8 days now. What do you want from me?
Accuracy in the titles of honorifics of foreign nobles. Yeah, well, Mr. Hands got up to all sorts of things, didn't he?
Mr. Hands?
Is it Mr. Hands? I don't know.
Mr. Tickle?
No, I think that's something different. I can't remember any of the Mr. Men apart from Mr. Bump.
Mr. Tickle?
He was blue and had lots. Mr. Tickle, I'm thinking of.
Mr.
There was a guy
Strong?
with really long hands.
Mr. Tickle?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was.
I just in my head, I call him Mr. Handsy.
He was swept up in that whole Me Too
U-tree
movement thing, wasn't he?
He got U-treed out of the book. So.
But yeah, like looking, I mean, I've got to say, when you join all the dots together, it does seem to make more sense than it was done by Czechoslovakian anarchists.
Well, I mean, to be fair, you always wondered where Mr. Gunsy came from, didn't you? He seemed incongruous with the rest of the Mr. Men.
Yeah, he did.
Most of them were to sort of teach life lessons where he more went around
Mr. Prussia.
State figures, yeah.
Mr. Prussia, he was a weird one. It's very militaristic. Yeah, so, yeah.
Mr. Dulles.
Mr. Dull, yeah. Mr. Mustard Gas.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was interesting, wasn't it, Neil? I wonder what other secrets the bunker may
will we ever be able
expose.
to get out of here to expose that to the wider world? Will
it
be believed?
I think that actually us coming in here, I think that probably the secret world government has used some kind of harp style radio waves
Do you think the Illuminati is tracking us in here?
I think they've snowed us in because we've got close to the truth.
Yeah,
I think that seems realistic to me. You?
But by this point, yeah, I'd believe anything.
Yeah.
Mainly because that backdraft from the toilet is just absolutely making my eyes and brain water.
Yeah, it's weird how you become more susceptible to learning stuff the less human contact you have.
The mind, I think that the intense stench of ammonia has got me thinking mental gymnastics every second. Sharpen my mind to a frenzy of activity.
It's certainly something which I'm going to go back and have another little look at in a bit. But what else have we been up to, Neil? Been eating the noodles just dry out of the packet now, haven't we? Just some dry noodles. That's nice.
We've run out of fuel to heat the water, so
you can crunch them down.
You just kind of like, or you can just kind of let them dissolve in your mouth like a lovely treat.
Yeah, like an after
a meaty treat. Yeah,
a meaty
or a umami treat. Well, it's not real meat, is it? But it's
noodles.
Yeah.
What do you do? Do you pour the packet of flavour in your mouth and then put it some noodles? Yeah. Oh. Is that not too much of a kick of flavour for you?
No, it's just enough. It's just the right amount. Here's the thing I don't care for, Chris.
Okay.
2 servings of noodles,
Apparently.
2 servings, and you know those little packs?
Yeah, they say it's 2 servings. Of for who?
Yeah, 1 flavour packet.
Right, yeah, but the flavour packets, because the flavour packet is for 2 servings. You're not meant to, I think when they say 2 servings, they don't mean break off half and then cook it. I think they mean, I think they mean that it's for a romantic dinner for 2, where you give half of the noodles.
It's clearly not the case, is it?
No, of course not. And how would that wouldn't fill up 2, I don't know,
Human
barrows?
beings, yeah.
Well, that's tiny. They say that because noodles are actually like really calorific, aren't they?
Yeah, they are quite
for some
insanely
reasons.
Well, it's just a shed load of fat and flour, isn't it? Basically, it's carbon fat, basically.
Well, I think the stuff that that isn't like how you actually should. If you make noodles fresh yourself, then you're not using a lot of palm oil.
Yeah. I don't know what kind of chemical horrors they've shoved in, but
you put a little bit of olive oil in and an egg, and then that's it. Like you don't. Yeah. So I don't know how them. But to be fair to our, for us, we kind of need the calories because
it's freezing down there.
Freezing. Yeah, we're having to huddle for warmth, skin to skin, back to back. Isn't it? To keep us.
That wouldn't be so bad if it weren't for the flatulence, but there you go.
Well, that's the noodle. That's the noodle and Pernod diet for you.
Yeah, it's true.
So, Neil, I've looked up a legend. Would you like to hear about it?
Anything else that we can be doing? So, fair enough.
Not much, really. Unless you want another game of Risk, but no, I don't think so.
Not after the temper tantrum last time.
We came to blows, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So, going to be looking.
You're going to play hard, don't play at all, Chris.
Play hard or go home. I can't go home, I'm snowed in. Well, then play hard.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So, we're going to be looking at Lussi, Lussi, which is Scandinavian, but also not. So, hopefully that's cleared that up for you.
Yeah, definitely. That's 2 mutually contradictory things that have come.
This is from legendsofthenorth.blogspot.com, and no one's claiming they wrote it. Oh no, Camilla Christensen.
I was going to say, was that a sense of shame or just a humility?
A humility befitting Christmas.
Yes.
I won't read the bottom part of it because it's, or maybe I will. We'll see how long I can.
Some foreign poetry or a recipe for cake.
It's a recipe. It's a recipe for traditional saffron buns.
Well, that might be nice for the listeners.
That's what they call you down Muscle Beach in LA, isn't it? Saffron buns.
Saffron buns. Because of my jaundiced buttocks. Oh. The liver's a harsh mistress, Chris. That's what I'm saying. When you've lived a life as I have.
Because you're always not looking where you're going and sitting down in old curries.
It's another theory.
Hey, why not both? So, when was the last time you went to Muscle Beach, by the way? Recently, wasn't it? You were trying
2 weeks back.
2 weeks back. Yeah. Are you still the king of the beach?
In my eyes.
Good.
Some may disagree. Well, my healthy self-image informs me absolutely the case.
Good. I'm glad. So this was
Emperor
written.
of the beach, if anything.
Emperor of the beach. Yeah. Emperor of Muscle Beach.
Yeah.
Take you beat up now pensioner Lou Ferrino for that, didn't you? Lou Ferrino.
He's giving a lot of back talk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You sprayed lemon juice in his eyes, rendering him senseless.
Well, you know.
Good, May.
Yeah.
Like you said, play hard or go home.
As I said to Lou Ferrigno, as I said to you, play hard or go home.
So this is
from
from
home in an ambulance.
So this is from Sunday, December the 13th, which I believe is Lussi Long Night on 2015. So 7 years old now. So hopefully there hasn't been too many changes since then.
No. I mean, what's happened since?
We don't know.
Nothing good.
And it's called The Darkest Night of the Year, Lussi Long Night, and the Celebration of Lucia. So, here's some history. Born in Syracuse in Sicily in the 280s, There are several legends surrounding the story of the Holy Sancta Lucia, in English, St. Lucy. I'll probably just call her that.
Yeah.
Although it remains unclear what actually happened to her, it is, however, certain that she suffered martyrdom on December the 13th, somewhere between 303 and 310 AD.
Happened a lot in those days, unfortunately.
Yeah, a bit of martyrdom.
And they were the real victims, the Christians, Chris, with the whole, Roman Empire converting to Catholicism.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And the good thing is that from those beginnings of being sort of persecuted, when they actually got in charge, what they did is they were really nice to everyone else because they understood what it was like to be a minority and be persecuted.
Absolutely.
So they took those lessons with them and the lessons of Jesus, and have always been a very pacifistic.
Definitely didn't just stop reading the Bible and just kind of like, sort of corrupted the message, maybe changing some of the Ten Commandments that didn't fit in as well with the Roman Empire's ideology. No, none of that. I suppose it was Christianity rather than Catholicism as well, but yeah, anyway.
So
I don't know. I did do some of this when I was younger, but you forget.
You did know. The various legends say that Lucy prayed to God that her mother, who was terminally ill, would get well. When her prayers were granted, Lucy devoted herself to God, swore to live in chastity, and used her dowry to bring food and supplies to the impoverished people of Syracuse.
Oh, so far so good.
Yeah, not bad, eh?
Where's the bit where she starts beating up kids?
I'm not sure she's one of Santa's tough guys.
Oh.
In order to have her arms free when she was going down the dark hallways in Syracuse, it was said that she wore a wreath of candles. Oh, I'm impractical.
Wait, what?
A wreath of candles, earning her the epitaph, the Luminous.
Well, no. Frankly, you would have the epitaph from me of the clearly not fire safety conscious.
Yeah, would have. Yeah, the epitaph from me of smells of burnt hair.
So is that because? So hang on a second.
So she wore like a
so
necklace.
She's got like a bandolier of candles or something.
Tea lights.
Yeah. Why did she need all of those candles, especially lit?
Because they were dark hallways of Syracuse, and she needed her hands free for giving alms to the poor.
Oh, right. Fair enough.
There you go. Now, some say that it was a scorned suitor who allegedly reported her actions after having been repeatedly rejected by the beautiful girl. Incel.
Well, yeah, typical, ruin everything.
In a time when Christianity was banished and devoted Christians were persecuted, this was a severe accusation. The city's governor promptly...
What's he been reported as doing? Like being into
being Christian and helping people out.
Yeah.
The city's governor promptly commanded that Lucy should be burnt at the stake unless she voluntarily chose to renounce her faith.
I can't do this. Time to do the crime, as we said so many times before.
The girl refused this offer, yet when the day came, the fire did not touch Lucy, and several attempts had to be made before the executioners succeeded in ending the life of the poor girl. Eventually, she was killed by a sword through the throat. The old ones are the best, eh?
Well, I mean, as much as I disagree with the actions of what they've done, I mean, that's getting the job done, isn't it?
Yeah, they're classics for a reason.
Going to die by fire? Fair enough.
Fair enough.
Gank, yeah. Right, 5 o'clock, time to go home. That's your point.
Yeah, that's your point on the way back.
I mean, so when did Constantine, when did it become part of the whole...
When did they
turn to
Christian?
Adopt the church?
It was his mum, wasn't it? And then him.
Well, his mum converted supposedly. I mean, how much of that? Because supposedly his mum was a saint or something as well. But it was a political manoeuvre, wasn't it? But
was it? Maybe.
Because the Roman Empire ended by the 4th century AD. So
yeah,
in the Great, 306 to 337. And another one after him, he did try and.
There we go. So it was just before. Just missed out.
Okay. So there was
between 303 and 310.
So I'll
just missed out.
Put them a place then, yeah. So it was before they converted across. Fair enough.
Yeah. So After her passing, Lucy was canonized, and to this day, the martyrdom of St. Lucy is commemorated on the 13th of December. In Scandinavia, the anniversary of Lucy was established after the implementation of Christianity. Here, however, the typical elements of the Catholic celebration were fused together with ancient Scandinavian traditions.
Nice. So this is a Roman story, but then it's gone over to Scandinavia. Is that right?
So it's a Christian story. It happened in Roman Sicily.
Yeah.
So then in Scandinavia they've merged it in with some of like
a Saints' Day, and then they've just merged it with one of their local
pagan.
Because a lot of
gods.
the saints they
merged them all in. Yeah.
They
pretty much shifted the Christian calendar around to fit on pagan festivals.
Right, where are we going to put the
so Jesus was born sometime in August. Right, let's put it in December.
So he's not this monster, right?
Right, so
Sasquatch.
He's around Sasquatch Easter. Yeah. There we go.
This is kind of how it happened, and then they just go and rubber stamp it at the Council of Nicene Creed or whatever it was. Nice.
So the celebration of the winter solstice had taken place already amongst the Norsemen, and many of the Norse traditions and conceptions were continued for the generations to come. In the Nordic lands, December was known to be the darkest time of the year. And given the circumstances, it was only natural that the common belief system was characterized by the long-ranging darkness.
Mm.
And it gets very dark in Scandinavia.
I can imagine, yeah.
Especially in the Arctic Circle.
Yeah.
When I went up in the Arctic Circle, it was at the time of year when the sun never came above the horizon. So you'd have perpetual twilight.
Feels a little bit like that in the UK at the moment.
Mm. Yeah, it's just because of the clouds and that.
Yeah.
The snow clouds. So the night between the 12th and the 13th was believed to be of particular importance, being the longest night of the year, and therefore a night when the powerful supernatural forces were at work.
Bound to be up to something.
No,
I love a calendar to the spirit world.
Yeah, well, it's when the veil's thinnest.
Very punctual.
They are very punctual.
Yeah.
According to the folk belief, this was, for instance, the only night of the year when animals were able to talk to each other.
Yeah. Rest of the year, I don't know what's going on.
They must have so much to catch up on.
Have you seen what's going on with them?
Oh, well, I've had a couple of calves this year. Oh, congratulations!
Oh, nice.
Lovely to hear. What did you name them? Mary and Moo Face. After midnight, the barn became a bustling social hotspot in which the animals were finally able to catch up on their gossip. I love that.
Yes.
So good. Boo boo, disco,
like
disco,
Cheers
disco,
the bar
disco.
or something.
This might also be an explanation why Lucy was believed to be part of the dark forces dominating this particular night. In addition, a confusion of St. Lucia, the luminous, and the diabolic Lucifer, the bringer of light, arose in Norwegian and Swedish folklore as a creature known by the name of Lucy.
I never got that, the whole name Lucifer for the devil. Bringer of light. What's that? I can't be asked looking at etymology, but yeah. That's a terrible thing, isn't it?
Humans weren't meant to. Well, that's why we got kicked out of the Garden of Eden, wasn't it? Because you ate the apple and it made us clever. And I went, nah.
Yeah, and then Elon Musk came out and went, no, we need a town square for the people. Free speech, God. Sort it out. God, but do you know what, Elon? Got a good point there, son.
Yeah, no, the whole... I mean, you know, they're both called like Lucifer and Jesus are both called Morning Star in the Bible. It's like there's something there's a lot more grey areas than
aspects
people like
of
to
it
imagine.
very kind of Dragon Ball Z, aren't they?
I wouldn't know, Neil.
I mean, from what I know of the 5 seconds of that cartoon that I've watched.
What aspects are similar?
Just like weird random superpowers that make no sense.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Yeah. The Bible is basically anime.
Yeah. Or vice versa. Take your pick.
Yeah, whatever. It was also on this particular evening at the beginning of Christmas. The beginning of Christmas. Fucking excellent. Sean Connery. The beginning of Christmas was initiated, and it was therefore important that people were well underway with all their Christmas preparations. Threshing and spinning should have already been completed, Neil.
Oh, this reminds me of the myth we had around, I forget the name, but Perchta, that was it. You've not span all of your stuff or whatever, just come and disembowel you.
Yeah, put rocks in your stomach.
Yeah, that'll serve you right.
And Christmas baking was expected to be well underway.
Well, I should hope so. How else are we going to be ready?
Exactly.
The feast.
Late at night, between the 12th and the 13th of December, Lussi came with an entourage of subterranean beings to ensure that all activities were on schedule. It's like a supervisor.
So, she's a project manager, basically, then.
Yeah, basically.
And like bad project managers, coming in at the last minute to see whether or not things are on time. If you'd had your eye on it, Lucy, you'd know whether or not there were any blockers. Could help resolve them.
Yeah, have you not been
just coming in at the last minute to start pulling your weight about?
Yeah, you've not been reading the raid log.
Yeah.
For fuck's sake.
You've identified none of the risks here. And any of this could have been foreseen and mitigated. You've actually got your thumb out your fucking arse.
You work in projects now?
I'm a big fan of all of my project and program managers, many of which are a very good relationship with.
I don't care about your work. In this sense, Lucy made...
I know, just on the very weird off chance that one of them listens to it.
Well, yeah, but I mean, that sounded so fake that they're going to be even more upset now. Like, if you just left it, you could have passed it off as just a character-based joke, whereas you've actually brought it into reality now and made it sound like
Or maybe I'm just adding another layer.
Yeah, maybe, Neil. Yeah.
Maybe that's what I've done.
Yeah. Enjoy quarter one, Neil. In this sense, Lucy may perhaps be described as a contemporary labour inspector, point we just made, which in fact gives her something in common with the Nice, which we've talked about as well. The Nice and
it's all tied together, isn't it?
It's all tied together. As with
I feel
the
like
Nice,
by the end of this series, Chris, we'll have learned all there is to know about Christmas.
Yeah, I think so.
Very little.
As will our listener. And with the Nice, Lucy was also known for her erratic nature. If people had neglected their to-do list, all hell would break loose. Lucy's fury would be inevitable, and she would press her white, distorted face against the window pane, shrieking out her disapproval. Again, very much like a project manager.
Yeah, absolutely. So you got her shrieking at the window, and then they'll be like coming in with a tiny little fist kicking the shit out of you as well.
Yeah.
Bothering the mules or whatever it is they got up to.
Well, that's why the Scandinavians are so efficient.
Yes. Yeah, this goes to show. Well, engineering projects are always well considered.
At other times, she would also enter the house through the chimney, or she would simply tear down the entire chimney. The most unfortunate ones could even risk getting abducted by the creature and led far away. All had to watch out when Lucy came stirring, bewitching, and startling poor and rich alike. Lucy Langnacht, which is the long night of Lucy, was therefore not an evening that was much looked forward to, and if possible, most people prefer to stay indoors.
So you're just kind of like hoping that you've got enough done that you don't get screamed at by your PM.
It's very much like work.
Yeah.
So, the modern day Lucia. Luckily, the Lucy known in Scandinavia today is quite different from the previous creature of Lucy. In Sweden in particular, the tradition of celebrating Lucia Dagen is deeply rooted and may have arisen with sailors who brought this Italian custom to the Nordic lands. Early in the morning...
Along with a few other things, I'll be bound.
Oh, yeah. Early in the morning, the oldest daughter of the house would bring her parents' breakfast in bed in the form of coffee, hot mulled wine, and traditional lusikata, saffron buns. This is a custom that...
That's quite a good breakfast, isn't it?
It's all right, yeah. Bit of booze.
Bit of booze, bit of coffee, save you back up, and a few buns.
This is a custom that dates back to the 1880s, and originally she would wear white with a candle-lit crown on her head, just as Lucy. The first recorded appearance of a white-clad Lucia in Sweden was in a country house in 1764. The custom did not become universally popular in Swedish society until the 1990s, when schools and local associations in particular began promoting it. In the 1900s.
I was going to say 1990s.
No, I was going to say, yeah, that's a weird term.
You got fucking, what are they called? Loveful, or no, what's that band called?
I don't know.
They were Swedish, weren't they? Love me, say.
Oh, right, yeah.
Did the Romeo and Juliet sound?
Yeah. I can't remember the name.
Cardigans.
Cardigans.
You've got the Cardigans knocking around and they're trying to teach mythology in school at the same time, yeah. I thought they were a bit more progressive than that. But yeah, anyway, it was 1900s.
I might be wrong, but I think the Cardigans later on turned out to be quite nationalist, right-wing.
No, that was a theory. Allegedly, that was Ace of Base.
Oh, that was it, Ace of Base.
There was theories that song was about, and actually it was one of them there's one of them I think is a proper full-blown fascist. The rest of them may or may not be. But yeah, no, that was the Cardigans.
It's about immigrants having too many babies or something.
Yeah, there's a theory that song is actually all about kind of like, yeah, there's hidden things which may or may not be the case. But the other people in the band, I believe, have denied
when
it.
someone comes out later on in their life or changes their views and becomes more right-wing, you can read into anything what you want. Like if you go back and look at any body of work.
Yeah, they all said it was just meaningless sort of
when you're standing for the National Front in 20 years' time, people will go back and look at this podcast and think it was all subversive and about right-wing nationalism. So when you're
difference being that
when you're benign dictator of UK.
Yeah. The seeds were there in the very early episode. We knew when they did those 12 episodes. You can see it very much forming at that point.
So around the 1930s, we meet the first modern Lussi processions in the streets of Stockholm, with the luminous Lussi in front, followed by an entourage of girls and boys dressed in white. Originally, this was actually a publicity stunt of one of the city's daily newspapers, yet it became so popular that it quickly spread to several parts of the world. Nowadays, the Lussi celebration remains widely popular, happening throughout Scandinavia, and during the last decade, it has increasingly become a celebration for the youngest. In schools, kindergartens, hospitals, and other public institutions, there are processions with children dressed in white, carrying candles baskets of Lussikatter in their hands. There should have been a comma in there. In Sweden, even a national Lucia is proclaimed, and each town and village elects their very own. So it's like a beauty contest.
So yeah, like the Rose of Tralee,
which I've told you about that, haven't I? I put the Rose of Tralee is an Irish thing, which was actually started in like the 50s by a film star, and I put myself drunk when I was drunk with Clem.
The male consort of the Rose of Tralee, or whatever,
the escort of Tralee. Yeah, I put myself forward to be the one for Mayo because that's what my ancestry is, and they actually contacted me for an interview to do it.
Yeah, I do remember you showing me the form. You should have gone for it.
I mean, the thing is, like,
you could have got an RTE.
I would have had to take time out of work to fly to go and have an interview to become an escort of Tralee, something which we only put in as kind of an ironic, drunken joke, thinking it would go no further. So this is quite a recent one then. So it's a bit like, Ploughman's lunches and stuff in the UK. You think they'll go back to the Middle Ages or something, and actually it turns out it's just a cheese board in the 50s or something that made them up. This is quite a recent. Well, so the modern version of it. So
yeah, the modern version. No, I get it goes all the way back to like the Roman Empire and Sicily and all the rest of it. But the festival things. Yeah,
it's developed. Yeah, recently. Well, I mean, a lot of modern-y Christmas stuff is only like
Victorian
years
era,
old, isn't it?
Like trees and turkeys and whatnot.
Well, the only reason why we celebrate it how we do now, which is similar to the sort of Germanic way, is because we had a German royal family and everyone copied the royal family back in those days. Otherwise, it wouldn't look like it does in this country as it does.
Yeah, and I think a lot of stuff got immortalised in Dickens as well, which kind of lent a kind of air of prestige and traditionalism to it, yeah.
So, it's quite a sight, standing in a pitch-black room when a Lucia procession enters.
Interesting that we didn't pick up on all of the beating of kids, isn't it?
Well, we didn't. We had enough of that in the workhouses.
Going around for ourselves. Yeah, that's a fair point.
Well, they're like, you can't say to a kid, like, have you done all your weaving when they're doing it for the British East India Company in a workhouse in Manchester?
Yeah, that's right. I know you fucking done it. I got it. Look.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, you got 3 fingers.
So it's quite a sight, standing in a pitch black room when a Lucia procession enters, singing, wearing long white robes with burning candles in their hands. In front, we have
where ABBA came from.
Quite possibly.
Undoubtedly, I'd say.
Is it Anya, the blonde one in ABBA?
I can't remember.
Anya or Anita?
Might as well be.
Do you know the kind of horrible history? Like, basically, her mum was Norwegian, and in the Second World War, the Nazis took over Scandinavia, so they were occupying force in Norway, and the Nazis had a program where, because they thought Scandinavians was very Aryan, they would basically force impregnate Scandinavian women with the German soldiers would, right? And that was like a policy they had. So the blonde one in ABBA was a product of this. And when the war finished, her mum ran off to Sweden. And so she was part of this. Her father was because
undoubtedly, because I mean, a lot of mums saying that was obviously completely non-consensual, but it probably would have been sort of
because they were like,
after the war, had a child with her,
even though it was non-consensual. Yeah. So that was how she was. That was part of ABBA's creation, I guess.
Didn't know.
Yeah, horrible, isn't it? Merry Christmas.
That was our little switch across the back. Let's see if we can.
I'll pull it back. In front we have Lucy. In front we have Lucy herself wearing a candlelit crown and red ribbons all around her waist, accompanied by a number of handmaidens. Though many songs are dedicated to this celebration, the one most commonly used throughout Scandinavia was really a Neapolitan folk song. The earliest version dates back to 1835 when the Italian composer...
This is how the Cornetto commercials.
Teodoro Cottrau translated the text from Neapolitan dialect into standard Italian. Today it remains the official song of the Lucia celebrations, known by Scandinavians by heart. It is a song that truly captures the heart of the celebration and bears witness to the brighter, warmer days to come. Neil, and I'm going to give it to you now, even though I don't know the tune. The night treads heavily around yards and dwellings, in places unreached by sun, the shadows brood. Into our dark house she comes, bearing lighted candles. St. Lucia, St. Lucia.
What a flashback to many a tuneless hymn in church.
There we
go.
We
can't remember the words. Yeah. No, we're just going to
bumble along. Try not to laugh because we're not allowed to. And that makes it even more funny.
I was hoping a troll would emerge at some point there as well.
No trolls.
And her pet troll. Trolls.
And a gang of trolls.
Yeah. Well, she also went around with half a dozen trolls. So he's
So Neil, unless you want to know how to make saffron buns, I think that's the end of St. Lucy. I think that's.
I would argue if anyone wants to know how to make saffron buns, you visit the website and look that up yourself.
Yeah, look it up.
If you've enjoyed the story of St. Lucia.
It's just going to make us hungry as well. We've only got dry ramen and pern. So that's it for today's then, Neil. That was a bit more cheerful than normal, wasn't it?
Well, that was nice. Yeah, it wasn't corporal punishment as per usual. So that was.
Well, there was a bit.
There was quite a bit of that. Yeah,
quite a bit, but not as much as normal.
Not as much as it wasn't.
Cool. All right, guys. We will be back with another one tomorrow, should we survive. And enjoy the rest of your stuff. Goodbye.
Bonne nuit.
Ho, ho, ho. See you tomorrow. Remember, don't drink and drive. Ho, 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 ho.